3. Let's go. The name is Law Nation. All the systems straight. Spotlight players and turnovers will be the conversation for this top of the hour. Appreciate everybody for jumping in. This is your Midday Sports Report. Yeah, let's go. Right, one way or another. Yep. They say ain't no party like a Law Nation party. Yep. Come on. Be sure on your way in to hit that like button. Sharing is caring. By the way. You're listening in to nothing, and I mean just that, nothing but the best. Yeah.
This is Sparta! I'm a Nation Royal.
No doubt. Be sure to share. Sharing is caring. If it's your birthday this month, happy birthday to you. From yours truly. Shout out to all of the HBOs, the SGs. Mama, there go that man again. All the haters, why don't you lean forward just a little bit?
No.
Come on. Hey, ho, let go. Yeah. Hey, ho. I'm rocking already. Hope you are too. Hey, ho. Come on. Ain't no party like a cowboy party, yeah. Let go. Load them up. Hey. Where my dogs at, huh? Yeah, Cowboy Nation. Woo! Hit him one time.
Are you not entertained?
No, you're not. Turnovers. There was a certain coach that said, hey, he don't coach turnovers, right? He just don't do those when we do them, and his name was Bill Parcells. But takeaways, that is something that's improved on this team. And there was an article that was out there. Now, I got audio of it. But it goes to show you that we were looking. We was looking for a change, right? Change that you can actually see on the field as it relates to these Dallas Cowboys, and we have not received those in a long time, in many of years. We used to sit back and say, man, when they going to turn the ball over, man? When we going to be the ones that get the ball back to the offense, right? And now we are doing that, and that's one of the biggest of the biggest spotlight with the Dallas Cowboys, the ability to capture the ball and give it back to the offense, and then they do something with it. Now, looking back at the Patriots during all of my research and everything, looking at some of their games and just trying to comb through everything that they do, of course, Mac Jones is going to give you an opportunity. Oh, yes, this should be a big game for the safeties in this game. He liked to attack the middle of the field, and their wide receivers are very pedestrian, but they got some crafty ways about themselves. Jacoby Myers, he's a guy that be careful for him because They like to do the tomfoolery, whereas that he would throw the football, flea flicker. They would do that. They would do a lot of other things to get the ball out, whether it's by hook or by crook. And this will be a dink and dunk system. Mac Jones got a quick release on his first few quarters. He's going to get the ball. The scripted plays, he's good at that. So getting the ball out quickly, he will do that. But when the third and fourth quarter come around, he gets a little lethargic on it, and he goes through and reads down his guy too long. But they got two guys that you got to pay attention to, and that's Damian Harris, who can screen catch a ball and get upfield, and they got a guy by the name of Hunter Henry. Yeah, that guy right there. He's a guy that can high point the ball. He's a tight end, and he will find the small spaces in the zone, especially in the middle of the field. So that's why it should be a big game for the safeties, because that's who they're going to target. He's going to do the play action, pass it in the middle of the field, and they are pretty good with that. But one thing that I can tell you guys right now, that this particular team going to have access for the turnovers and takeaways they will be created. And Cowboy Nation, I really appreciate everybody for tuning in. If this is your first time jumping in, be sure to hit that like button and share this content. But let's listen.
And he did a story. He found another angle that no one has really found about this Cowboys 4-1 start.
Oh, yeah, I got to talk about Judon. Yeah, Judon, too. Number 9 for your mind. He wear the long sleeves, red sleeves, most of the majority of the game. He will be the X factor on defense, and the safety, I forgot his name. We really wanted that safety. His name is at the tip of my tongue, but, they picked him up. He's like a hybrid style of safety. They play him down inside. He can play free. He got range. He's a 4-4, 4-3 guy. So it's going to be a heavy dosage of that on the defensive side of the coin. And, of course, scheme is scheme. They're going to try to scheme it, but I believe, like I said before, our offense has got so many weapons. Oh, my goodness. So Bill Belichick got to pick his poison, whether or not he's going to be the guy that, I'm going to try to stop the run and force Dak Prescott to win it in the air, or dog it, I'm going to stop the pass and force Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard to run it. So those would be his options. But most teams, technically speaking, don't have the patience for that, right? Right. They just don't have the patience to run all day, and especially you got to capitalize off of your opportunities. In the last 2 games that I witnessed with the Patriots, last game against the Texans, they was conservative and they just took what was given. They didn't do the gamble part on 4th downs. They said, okay, it's a 51-yard field goal, let's kick a field goal. If it's a 40-yard field goal, let's kick the field goal. And that's okay. If you want to go the field goal route, ask the Giants. You can't just kick a field goal and think you're going to keep up with the Cowboys, right? You're going to have to punch it in for the touchdown. But let's listen to this audio, and I appreciate somebody who mentioned the quote-unquote Judon, because I left him out. Yeah, he's a guy that if you watch any of the Patriots film, he don't play all of the snaps, but the snaps that he do play, they count. Let's put that up here, and so y'all can see y'all comments there. Let's go, Cowboy Nation. Let's start all the way from the beginning.
And he did a story. He found another angle that no one has really found about this Cowboys 4-1 start.
No doubt.
Where we all look at them and the way they've played in these 5 games. It's the best stretch of Cowboys football we've seen over 5 games in several years. Nice. Even the loss to Tampa, very entertaining, well played.
Facts.
Just not enough plays to win that game.
Mm-hmm.
And this subject matter we talked about before the season. I remember in August saying if the Cowboys are going to be decent this year, if this is going to be the season that everybody hopes, one thing has to improve, and that's turnover differential.
Y'all listen.
Goes
to
back
part.
a long way. Tom Landry always talked about it as being the biggest number. How many takeaways do you get? How well do you protect the ball? Right now, the Cowboys are second in takeaways. they have 12. Half of those are one guy, Trayvon Diggs, with 6 picks. They've given it away 5 times, which is somewhat problematic. Mike McCarthy's not happy about the fact that the Cowboys have had a turnover in every game.
Right.
That is not a good thing. In fact, that is 16th right now in protecting the ball in the league. The Bills, who are blowing and going, lead the league in takeaways and differential. They're a plus 11.
Bills
they
looking
forced
good.
15 turnovers. They have given it away 4 times.
Buffalo Bills looking good.
So why is this? Well, David looks into it, and going back to 1969, if you took the most successful coaches, 16 of those 19 that have been among the league leaders in turnover differential, you'll find that they have Super Bowls to their ledger. The top in overall, you have to be in the league at least 10 years, and of those top 19 coaches and at least 10 years coaching experience, those who are in the top 19 in turnover differential, 16 of them have Super Bowl titles, including Bill Belichick, who has the most titles and the most turnovers and best turnover differential. Then you have Mike McCarthy and Pete Carroll tied for second. I've got to tell you, I didn't know he had a history. I'm assuming that Green Bay checked out pretty well with that. They had a lot of good teams. Therefore, their turnover differential was probably good. But we've talked about it through the years so many times. How does this happen? Do you coach it? Bill Parcells used to, I think he definitely stressed it. He knew how big that number was. But he would always say, especially if the Cowboys had a game where they had like 3 turnovers, hey, I don't coach turnovers. I don't know what's happening there.
Yeah.
But I've always thought that you can make it a big point of emphasis, and David found out through some really good reporting that the Cowboys do, including, this may seem somewhat
point of interest. Hey, and you got to understand this, Cowboy Nation. Hear me out. We've been looking for differences between the previous regime versus this regime. And this administration, they do a lot of prep work. They don't wait till it rains and say, okay, let's go purchase the umbrella. They got the umbrellas already ready for all of the players, right? So the old administration used to say, okay, it's 97% chance of rain, but it could be those small percentages that it don't rain. So we're not gonna wear a raincoat, a rain jacket, nor an umbrella. We okay. We do what we do, but what's best, But this organization already got the umbrellas lined up, if I can use that as an analogy. The raincoat, the rain suit, the visor and all. So this is major good stuff for us, Cowboy Nation. So that's why when we see some of the movements of the team, including like the Terrence Steele or even the J-Ron Curse of the world, that's why we are eligible to see good football play week in and week out because of the adjustments, the preparation, prepared mind.
Small and mundane. Every team down to the high school ranks, you'll have a jugs machine, or maybe 2 or 3 of them. Receivers use them, defensive backs use them. The Cowboys had 1 at their practice field when McCarthy got here. They have 8 now. Ooh. And players go through a circuit. All positions go through a circuit where they work on hand-eye coordination. Mm-hmm. They have circuit drills set up for the players to go through that.
Let me rewind for all of those who didn't understand that part of it. We only had 1 judge machine. That's the actual machine that shoot the ball out. And now we have 8 of them. And now if you went to practice this year in Oxnard, you see that it was mandatory. Not voluntary, but mandatory that after practice, everybody lined up and they go through that jug machine. So now what we are seeing now, when the ball is in the air, batted in the air or what have you, we can see that these players are out there ready to get the ball because it's not unknown to them now. It's familiar.
coaching experience, those who are in the top 19 in turnover differential, 16 of them have Super Bowl titles, including Bill Belichick, who has the most titles and the most turnovers and best turnover differential.
Appreciate it, Charlene.
Then you have Mike McCarthy and Pete Carroll tied for second. I've got to tell you, I didn't know he had a history. I'm assuming that Green Bay checked out pretty well with that. They had a lot of good teams. Therefore, their turnover differential was probably good. But we've talked about it through the years so many times. How does this happen? Do you coach it? Bill Parcells used to, I think he definitely stressed it. He knew how big that number was. But he would always say, especially if the Cowboys had a game where they had like 3 turnovers, hey, I don't coach turnovers. I don't know what's happening there. But I've always thought that you can make it a big point of emphasis, and David found out through some really good reporting that the Cowboys do, including, this may seem somewhat small and mundane.
Right.
Every team down to the high school ranks, you'll have a jugs machine, or maybe 2 or 3 of them. Receivers use them, defensive backs use them. The Cowboys had 1 at their practice field when McCarthy got here. They have 8 now.
8.
And players go through a circuit. All positions go through a circuit where they work on hand-eye coordination.
Mm-hmm.
They have circuit drills set up for the players to go through that.
Right.
They have a video influence that at least in 2 of the 4 team meetings, there is a video about ball security or, on the other end, forcing turnovers.
Forcing them.
Every coach has it, the fundamentals of blocking, tackling, ball security, in parentheses, protection and extraction. But McCarthy has it this way. As David found out, it's called the Cowboys 6. There's tackling, blocking, ball security. Number 4 is finish, pursuit, and coverage.
Right.
5 is big play, production on both sides of the ball. And 6 is mannerisms and disguise, gaining some sort of advantage on both sides of the ball.
We're going to rewind again so we can get this in our mind.
But McCarthy has it this way.
Let me do it this way right here so I can save it. Right here, Cowboy Nation.
But McCarthy has it this way. As David found out, it's called the Cowboys 6. There's
Cowboys 6.
Tackling, blocking, ball security.
Somebody write that down.
Number 4 is finish.
Somebody write that down. Tackling, blocking, ball security. And I'm going to have to copy and paste.
But McCarthy has it this way. As David found out, it's called the Cowboys 6. There's
Cowboys 6.
Tackling, blocking, ball
Shout
security.
out to you, Cole.
Number 4 is finish, pursuit, and coverage. 5 is big play, production on both sides of the ball. And 6 is mannerisms and disguise, gaining some sort of advantage on both sides of the ball. So, A, you are ready for the play that's about to come if you're the defense, or offensively, maybe your motion or disguise has somehow given you some sort of advantage pre-snap to have a successful play, maybe give you one of those big plays or help you in ball protection. And McCarthy, there's all sorts of quotes in here about saying that is his big thing. That is his big point of emphasis. And even last year, we didn't really know what to think of this, but like last year, weeks 1 through 10, the Cowboys were second in the league in fewest takeaways. They were down there with the likes of the Texans and a few others with just 7 takeaways in the first 10 weeks of the season.
But then it picked up.
But they led the league weeks 11 through 17, taking the ball away with 16. And now we know we have the streak going when you combine last year with this year of forcing multiple turnovers with their opponent. So as last year was just going by the wayside and
appreciate you, Mark.
It was bad football all the way around. The defense had tons of holes in it. The offense was not very productive. It was not complimentary football, as McCarthy always talked about. Almost secretly, in those last 6 weeks, after practicing this every day, and it's about repetition, it's about working on your technique. It's kind of a lost thing. We all just want to see the touchdown play run, but there's a lot of work that goes into that, and it's fundamentals. The Cowboys were really good at that, and even with a bad defense, they were at least forcing turnovers. Weeks 11 through 17, forcing 16. So they finished last year with a -3, but they were 27th and giveaways last year with 26. That's why they finished with a -3 for the season. I know that's a lot of numbers, but basically this team has been really good at forcing turnovers the last 6 weeks of last year, or last 7 weeks, and the first 5 weeks of this year. In fact, they've been the best in the NFL at doing that, and that's why some of these results, you're starting to see them on the field.
No doubt.
First of all, it's a great article by David. Thumbs
David
up.
Moore.
We'll have David on
Check it out.
9:35 this morning. We can talk more about it.
Yes.
But he did a great job with this piece. And it was somewhat eye-opening, the lengths that McCarthy goes to coach turnovers, to coach takeaways, also to protect the ball, which you can argue for whatever reason that coaching isn't sinking in. You mentioned how many times they gave it away last year and how they're second in the league this year. So it's a fascinating conversation to me.
Appreciate
because
you,
why is the taking away coaching sinking in, but the protecting the ball sinking in isn't sinking in, you know?
Yeah.
And I've always thought you can coach turnovers, but that's limited. You can coach punching the ball out. You can coach, this and that, and some of the stuff that David outlined in this article. But I don't know that you can coach what Trayvon Diggs has. You can sharpen his skills.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
But you can't coach that closing speed. You can't coach that nose for the ball. And I always go back to, well, this is great because now the numbers are here in terms of takeaways to back up what McCarthy's doing. And I'm not trying to take away from what McCarthy's doing. I think this whole article, makes me think highly of McCarthy and from that perspective. But for years, and I always bring this up when this discussion comes up, we have Rod Marinelli on every training camp, and we would talk about him coaching turnovers. And he always said, yes, we coach turnovers. We coach him how to punch out the ball. We coach him how to, track the ball in the air, all this stuff. And yet they were always the worst team in the league in taking the ball away. So if it's that easy and it's that important, every coach coaches turnovers, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I have a hard time putting 2 and 2 together and getting 4 in this case because the results seem so wildly inconsistent. Plus, I see so many players who just have that knack. Sean Lee had that knack. Trayvon Diggs has that knack. Everson Walls had that knack.
Sure.
They just know how to get the ball and play the ball, and I don't think those guys were coached to do that. I just think that that's something they had.
But I believe that it's a twofold situation. I mean, let's be real, as much as I can train, I would never become Shaq, right? I can probably do some of the low post moves, but that's just not my skill set, to be Shaq. And Shaq would never have my skill set. So evaluating a certain player and moving on from a player means everything. You see, the old administration might have seen 1 or 2 good plays from and I'm not picking at him, but Stephen Parker, let's say he made it 1 or 2 good plays, and the old regime would be like, yeah, we will stand on that hill to work with Stephen Parker. And I'm not selling or denigrating Jeff Heath or the Xavier Woods, but there was no real main competition in those categories. We kind of hold on to those guys and we elevated them, and they never got off of that rock. And Jeff Heath, he got his interceptions when granted, not trying to throw any salt at him, but what I'm saying is that basically coaching do have to have a mindset to say, okay, this is what we're going to get out of this player regardless. Just juxtaposed to, if I'm trying to coach Shaq, I'm going to go back to that reference point, to shoot on the perimeter. It doesn't matter how much I tell him, hey, you got to execute that. We're going to make sure that you are able to hit when you're wide open. That's just not his skill set. So I believe that Mike McCarthy, and of course, with the help of Al Harris and Joe Witt Jr. and all of those boys and Dan Quinn, they went out there and said, okay, let's bring forth guys that can get their hands on the ball, and let's continue to sharpen that You only got one jug machine? All right, now we got 8. That plays a major role and not a minor role, so that's just how that goes. And eventually people are going to stop throwing to Diggs' side, And case in point, Diggs also is wise enough to bait you into throwing that way as well. Meaning that you think that he's open. Oh, I'm going to drop back and I'm going to shoot the ball that way or throw the ball that way. It's picked off to the 30, to the 20, to the 10. Touchdown. You're in. Now, the other side of the coin, Anthony Brown, and I'm not saying that he's a Hall of Famer, by the way, but Anthony Brown got 2 interceptions for the season, and he also scored 1, right? So if Anthony Brown get 3 interceptions, it don't matter. Even if he get a tip ball or a piece of a ball, whatever it may be, if Anthony Brown get another interception this year, he will have 3 of them. And it's been a long time for the Cowboys to have a player on the same side of the coin with multiple interceptions. Of course, more than 2. That would be something like, whoa, wait a minute now. Come on now. So that you got to give kudos to the coaching on that aspect, because I recall a time where it's 2 will be like, hey, that's happy, dog. We used to say, hey, a player with 2 interceptions, we'd be like, yes, this guy got 2 interceptions for the season, right? But let's listen to more of these guys.
It's a combo. I think you can, I think they've made Trayvon Diggs better this year. He showed these traits last year, but given the repetition that he's been in with Dan Quinn, the defense, plus I do think it's a combo in the personnel you have. Now you've got Dan Quinn who says, let's bring in a couple of guys I know can fly around the field.
Right.
Let's draft that guy out of LSU and that guy out of Penn State because I know they can fly around the field.
Yes. Shout out to you, Mark.
And so there's where I think you get your combo, and then you start on the defensive side, you get guys who can do that, get around the football, fly around, create turnovers. And on the other side, I think you had turnovers last year because Andy Dalton had about 1.7 seconds to throw the ball, and now Dak has sometimes a full 3 or 4 to throw it because the offensive line is better.
But remember the Zeke fumbles last year?
Yeah.
That wasn't the offensive line.
No.
Knocking on wood,
that was a personnel thing. But, with Zeke, it's not as if they addressed that in that article too. Do you stop? Like Schultz had a problem with it a couple of weeks ago. Do you stop going to him? Well, obviously not. He was the main target this last week, but they made it a point of emphasis with him. Hey, here's where you went wrong in this. This is how you can get better, as they did with Zeke. And remember in Hard Knocks when that was one of the first things Zeke said, as a running back, we will do this. I think the second thing is, maybe the first, we will protect the football.
Right.
And you make it a point of emphasis. And you're right. If you have Tony Pollard who's running by people and not getting hit and Zeke who's running over people, you're probably not going to fumble as much. And if there's more space to run through it, it all goes hand in hand.
Sure.
But I do think it's an interesting sample, though, if you go back through his coaching career, that McCarthy's up there at the top in turnover differential with all these successful coaches, some of them 16 out of 19, most of them winning Super Bowls since 1969. I don't know. I didn't realize that was part of McCarthy's resume.
No, I didn't.
But it is.
But it is, and we've really seen it here the first 5 weeks of this season and the last 7 of last year. And it's one of the reasons why you're 5-1. Are you 5-1 because you're getting turnovers? Or are you getting turnovers and protecting it? And that's why you're 5-1. It's an argument that goes in circles, but it's an interesting conversation for sure.
This man is speaking into the future. I love it. Are we 4-1 or are we 5-1? Hey, either way, I take it. Are we 5-1 or are we 4-1? Because he's speaking into the future. Are we 4? Y'all let me know because my mind just got blown up at this interview right quick. Yeah.
15 years he led the league in turnover differential and had a Hall of Fame quarterback and must have won, 5 Super Bowls in Green Bay?
He got one. He had a lot of good years.
I'm
but,
sorry, I couldn't help myself there.
He did get one.
I couldn't help myself there.
Hey, what we do for one more around here? I mean,
no kidding.
You just
and in fairness, what we would do for his record that he put up in Green Bay, he only won one Super Bowl, but he won big until his last 2 or 3 years.
Playoff wins in January, something we haven't.
But it
seen
is
much
funny.
of.
Those are probably the two most important things, right? Great quarterback and turnover differential.
Sure. Yeah. You got, I guess, in some ways, maybe hold that against them. Why they didn't maybe win a little bit more.
Yeah. So one thing that when I was doing like the Mike McCarthy's resume, he's been a solid coach in Green Bay. Let me repeat, he's been a solid coach in Green Bay. Now, a ton of that credit went to Aaron Rodgers, of course. Aaron Rodgers just. Aaron Rodgers. And a lot of people sullied and denigrated the fact that, it's really, Aaron Rodgers opposed to Mike McCarthy. So last year, everybody was like, hey, what you look at, what you seeing now with Mike McCarthy. And I said, well, I'm going to go ahead and give him a mulligan, right? And I listed all of the excuses, right? And somebody from the Washington team said, well, how you going to say that? But our coach had cancer and we had the same slew of injuries and blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, what? You want a cookie, you get a cookie. But Washington coach, yeah, they won a division last year and shout out to them, But right now, looking at this Dallas Cowboys team and looking at how everything is orchestrated, you can sit back and pause and say, man, it's hard to say negative things about Mike McCarthy, especially in this run right here. And just write the deal, 2-2. Just grow the nation. Go Cowboys, $9.99 for your mind. Appreciate everybody who made the donations earlier and while I was giving this wonderful excerpt about Mike McCarthy, speaking glowingly of him, and that's life too, Cowboy Nation. We want good things to happen for this team, right? And we beg for this, right? Show of hands in the chat box. We were literally saying, come on, Jerry Wayne. Anybody, bring us anybody, but let's get rid of Jace and Garrett. That experiment been too long, right? Been too long. And then when he had that presser, and I'm not trying to beat up Jason Garrett. He's a wonderful guy, by the way. Very brilliant guy. Firm handshake. You can crush your hands when he shake your hand, right? But we was literally saying, like, come on, man, just move on. Anybody, somebody was yelling out, bring my little leagues coach, to coach this team. Anybody. And he went out there and got Mike McCarthy. Remember, I was banging the table for Urban Meyer, right? Right? Look how that's going down there in Jacksonville, lad, right? He's dancing with girls in bars, I said, man, dog, man, I wanted Urban, but man, I'm kind of glad we missed out on that one, right? And some people were saying, what's the guy that's over there at OU? What's his name? They wanted him, So it goes to show you that let's let the Jones do the Jones things, man. And shout out to Jerry Jones for standing firm on what he believed in. He lapped Natasha. Yeah, he was lap dancing. Yeah, Natasha. He was. And then he made the apology and everything. I was sitting like, dude, you doing bad, dog. You doing bad. Knowing that there's cameras and everything, not saying that you do things in surprise for the cameras. And now the Cowboys are in this particular dilemma. Lincoln Riley, appreciate you, Devon. Lincoln Riley or Elroy. Yeah, Lincoln. Look, Jerry Jones said, and his birthday was yesterday, right? Happy birthday to Jerry. Y'all put your birthday hearts together, and prayers and say happy birthday to Jerry Wayne and things. Man, let me see if I can find a picture of him at least, and put that up here. Appreciate everybody for jumping in. And come on, where your picture at, Jerry? Here's Jerry. Where you at, Jerry? Jerry Wayne and things. Point at me. Yeah, there we go. Jerry. Happy birthday, you know.
I want me some.
Y'all can fill out the rest. But you guys get what I'm saying, right? We are now facing a dilemma, right? What is the dilemma, Law? Well, when you do good, then there will be situations and scenarios whereas other teams going to say, hey, I want some too. I want a piece of it. What can the name of this titling? What can the Cowboys do in order to keep Kellen Moore? I want to know your thoughts in the comment box. Let me post it right here. That's the question. What can the Cowboys do in order to keep Kellen Moore? We know that he is the future. And it's going to be hard to keep this team intact when you hear the storylines of what Dan Quinn is doing. Oh, my goodness. Putting the helmet on himself. He's putting the helmet on himself. Dallas Dubman says, pay the man. Mark says, pay the man too. Got it. AG says, pay the man. And at this point, we got to say to ourselves, Jerry, you know you're getting long in the tooth. We love you. We know that you're a multi-billionaire with a B. You just, look, in the last 5 seconds, he made millions of dollars. People buying pro shop stuff right now. People buying tickets to the game right now, as Grandma would say. There's no salary cap as it relates to coaching, right? There's no salary cap as it relates to your staff. So you can't tell me that, hey, money was an issue. There's no salary cap. By the way, there's no background checks too, right? If you think I'm lying, ask John Gruden, you know. There's no background check. People are all talking about what John Gruden said, but what was the reply on the other end, by the way, you know? Ain't nobody talking about that. Like, he sent it, but what, they didn't read it? You know, email goes a two-way lane, right? I digress.
The two options are, well, three options. A, let him leave for a head coaching opportunity. B, money whip him to be the head coach in waiting someday.
Got a money whooping. Whoop that money out. How you do that money thing? Put that money out there. That's the money talking to you. Take the money, baby. Take the money.
Undermining McCarthy. C, making Kellen the head coach.
Oh, no.
I don't think you can do option B. I'm not a believer in that.
What?
You have to decide if you would rather have Mike McCarthy or Kellen Moore as your head coach next year if you're Jerry Jones.
Shoo. You know, movie reference. Coming to America. The first one, not the second one. I don't know what that one was all about, you know. But the first one. At the end of the movie, the queen told the king, I thought that you were the king, right? You make the rulings, you know. you got to be able to say, hey, I'm Jerry Wayne and things. I'm a multi-billionaire, and I got to keep you on this team. And I want to tell you guys this too. Not just Kellen Moore. I'm crafting up a plan to keep Dan Quinn. Oh, my goodness. I'm making sure all of these teams are going to be trying to play a hate, you know. Maybe it's the Giants. They might be looking at Dan Quinn like, hey, we want Dan Quinn now. No. you know.
No, God!
No on all of those guys. I don't want to see that. Look, this is the problem with the teams. Let us build our program, eh? Give us 3 to 4 strong years, right? We got a good thing going. Let's not break this thing down. I know people want money. Money is good, you know, but let us have our program, because the moment we start doing good, they start to bring us in for interviews and stuff like that. People get high on the sauce or what have you. Good OC does not equals good head coaching. Look at Wade Phillips. Oh, my goodness, man. Appreciate you for that one. Put Jerry back up there just for his birthday. That is the issue. The moment we start doing good, that's when everybody going to be like, hey, y'all remember? And it throws off your psyche. We was going to the playoffs in 2018. And all of a sudden, everybody, mama, uncle, cousin, Tupac and Biggie, Ashaniqua, Pookie and Ray Ray were like, hey, what's up? Can we interview Chris Richard? You know, we like, come on, man. We trying to get a game going here. We trying to stay focused. Can we interview such and such? We like, come on. Just because your season over with doesn't mean that we should be over with. And I believe that the NFL need to look at it like this. When teams go to the playoffs, right? That they don't need to have the ability to start pulling coaches to the left and right for interviews. Because, you know, Mama, I hope you're not watching, but if you are watching, I love you. But back in the day, I used to go on interviews. I'd be like, nah, I'm not finna tell my mom about it, because I accidentally told my mom about the interview. And every freaking 5 seconds, did you get the interview? Did you get the job? Did you get the job? Did you get the interview? How did it go? You know, I'm still at my day job. Did you get the job? God gonna work it out for you. You know, I'm like, no, I'm tired of it, you know. And that wanes on you a little bit. Mama, I love you. But you guys get what I'm saying, right? And that's just from a collectively on a low end type of situation. It wasn't a 2 or 3.4 or $5 million type of dollar job, you know, that these guys are going to go through. So, you know, and then you try to prepare you going into war anyway. So when we go to the playoff this year, I don't want none of my coaching staff. I know that it can change your life by getting a head coaching position. But the NFL need to change that ruling, right? Let me know if I'm wrong, Cowboy Nation. Shout out to Mama Law. You know, appreciate you, Asmodeus, and shout out to you, D Champ. Appreciate you. Yeah, I mean, that throws off a lot of things, right? Preparations, preparing, or what have you. And good teams are going to be teams that they get those interviews like, hey, we want to call you in for a cup of coffee. And it's hard. I ain't going to even lie. Joe Witt Jr. sitting up there, and let's say, who's the team that need a coach? Not Miami. Let's say the Giants or somebody. Let me just use the Giants. You know, Giants call Joe Witt Jr. and say, hey, you know, we would like to bring you in for an interview. That's hours, that's minutes, that's time and preparation that he takes away from the defensive backs coaching position. It takes one play to change the outcome of a game. And then when he comes back in for the interview, everybody looking at him like, hey, you going to stay or what? Are you leaving? Are you going? And I don't want this to happen to Kellen Moore. I want us to be locked in and lasered in. And Law, you can't count your eggs or your chickens before they hatch, whatever that saying goes, right? No, we going to the playoffs. We going. The Raiders, yeah. Joe Witt Jr. go to the Raiders or somebody. Yeah, you know, amazing opportunity for him.
All the heavy odds would say Mike McCarthy would stay. All right. I wonder if Jerry and Steven would admit that it was a mistake and it undermined Wade to do that with Jason. My gut tells me they would say no, it was not a mistake. But when you work for someone and your boss isn't really in charge, that creates such a bad vibe in your building.
Right.
There's just a lack of respect. There's a lack of authority. There's backstabbing. There's double.
Oh, off point. Yeah. Charlene, you're right. You're right. Eric Bieniemy. Time to get a head coaching position. That is right up his alley. And it's crazy because if he goes to the Raiders, and it's just sideway talk, Eric Bieniemy, they are rivalries, they don't like each other, It's like Dallas Cowboys versus the Eagles or Cowboys versus anybody in the NFC East. That would be crazy, right? If Eric Bieniemy goes to the Raiders. Oh man, that'll be life. Yeah, that'd be good that'd be a good situation for him, by the way. And if you really circumvent everything, on the reason why John Gruden is gone, right? Collectively speaking, for the PC and the council culture and everything, and then they replace him with a brother, that will be flat out crazy. But that will be good for Eric Bieniemy, and it will be. NFL can write their own check because every time they have a game versus each other, they'll be bringing up and rehashing the storyline, and then, of course, with the minority hiring and all of this stuff, that would be a great talking point, by the way.
Well, Tommy, it creates a divide. You're a Kellen guy, you're a McCarthy guy, you're a Wade guy. We all know that Garrett's the chosen one, so why would I not go ahead and become tight with him? I want to impress him and not Wade. Wade's lame duck. He's on the way out, and the money just told us that. I went through this. No, I didn't go through this then, but there was a similar situation with Kyle Shanahan in D.C. Maybe I did go through it. When Mike Shanahan was the head coach, Kyle was the OC.
Facts.
And they were moving on to Jay Gruden.
Facts.
But Snyder didn't identify Kyle Shanahan as like that next head coaching stud. Now, Kyle, it took another stop in Atlanta before he became the San Francisco coach. But you had that. I remember having that discussion like, hey, do you just promote Kyle Shanahan and not hire Jay Gruden? We all think Kellen Moore is a better football coach, offensive coach right now than Mike McCarthy. You also have to ask, just because Kellen Moore is running a high-octane offense,
below the heavens,
number one in the league in terms of scoring points, doesn't mean he can lead an organization. It doesn't mean he can lead a locker room at all.
It also doesn't mean that he's the reason for this offense. I mean, he was the OC here last year with Andy Dalton, and we were terrible.
All right, man, and these my guys, Sean and RJ. Appreciate them. I'm not going to say being top 10 offense last year with the slew of injuries, and y'all know what happened with us last year. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that with Kellen Moore. My biggest stance on Kellen Moore was, hey, you're going to have to go through some growing pains, right? And even with Kyle Shanahan, the son of what was his father's name? I forgot his father's name, but Kyle Shanahan. He did a great job from a perspective of, hey, he was the offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Rams, huh? What about that one? He was the offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons, and then he got this position as a quote unquote head coach for the 49ers. They went to the Super Bowl, and some of the same situations happened. Up, and then they lose in the Super Bowl. Mike Shanahan, appreciate you, man. Appreciate y'all, man. I guess it was too much coffee. But it is what it is. So Kyle Shanahan, you can see some of his stubbornness when we watch some of the 49ers clips. Like, come on, dog. You got to make some necessary adjustments. You got to mix this thing up. You can't be, okay, we're going to continue to do this philosophy when you got a quarterback that can pretty much help you out, or you got to at least attempt to throw the ball. You can't continue to run your head right into the wall, right? You got to make the necessary adjustments. Those are issues and flaws that you will see. Now, the only reason why I know that is because my brother is a die-hard 49er fan, So he calls, he said, man, I can't believe Shanahan did this. Right? Case in point, what the Jets are doing over there with that particular coach. What's his name? Y'all help me out. The Jets, he was on the 49ers sidelines. But look at the Jets records now, right? We really not looking at the Jets as it being, okay, the juggernaut. Salah. Robert is not doing world changes on the defense over there, and it may take a time, right? Now he's the voice of the everything that's over there, right? It probably would have been better for the 49ers to have Salah over there again and repeat what they was doing over there. The defensive side would have had the same true philosophy, and the offense would have been the same situation over there. So what we got to look at it from the Kellen Moore perspective, what Jerry might have to sell him is saying, hey, man, you took 3 to 4 years to develop here. We got a good thing going on. But if you go to the Raiders, right, there will still be some other adjustments that you have to do on the defensive side. You got to also make the adjustments for the special teams units. Oh, my goodness, you have to make the adjustments of learning the layout of everything. Everything is plush right here. It goes back to my guy, Okoye. And I love this philosophy. I'm going to have to borrow it for all of my life. Would you rather be a king for a day or a prince for a lifetime?
Maybe the offense is good because number 4 could throw.
Yeah.
So maybe it's like, I'm not. Are you going to upset the entire culture of the organization?
Yeah.
To save a guy that you could replace because you can replace it. The Chiefs are not worried about losing Eric Bieniemy.
No.
Because they know that they've got whatever the hell number.
And they have Andy Reid.
15.
And they have Andy Reid, who's really, sorry, Bieniemy fans, the offensive mind there.
Right, and the Cowboys have Mike McCarthy, who is an offensive guy.
Yes.
So do you really want to go down that road and do that? Like what do we really – how much of this offense do we really credit with Kellen?
Well, here's what I give – look.
Well, I love this conversation, by the way. And I think Chris Davis, I think that he just mentioned that, Kellen Moore is a better offensive coordinator than Eric Bieniemy. Now, from a play perspective, really, when you really look into like the Kansas City Chiefs, I think Chris is falling right on a good point right here. And don't crucify me, Cowboy Nation. Don't shank me with the butter knife. Don't sneak up behind me and say, you wrong, Law. But hear me out. The creativities of the plays, yes, over there in Kansas City land, when you go watch them, you see a lot of stuff that you see underneath. But I believe in the hearts of hearts, without Tyreek Hill, they don't go. That Tyreek Hill playing off the combination of, dare I say, that tight end is nasty. Because initially, you want to bracket Travis, right? You want to have the safety over the top.
We don't sit on here and pretend to be Brian.
You want to have the safety over the top, right? And then you want to have the underneath guy, right? Because that's just how awesome he is. But on those deep crossers, right? You still got to have that safety as the deepest of the deepest. And you got to pray that your underneath guy can stick underneath on Tyreek Hill. One can argue that you at times look at Tyreek Hill and say, dog it, don't get underneath. Play 2 overs on his side. Because he's so shifty. You saw what number 89 did to us last week. The kid, Kadarius Toney. Tyreek Hill is him on multiple steroids. Shout out to you, Kelly, for the donation to help elevate the nation. And I'm not saying that, and I'm not put this notion out here that Kadarius Toney killed our guy Trayvon Diggs, because that's not the case nor the scenario. You want to call like one pass on him and he caught him in man and he was underneath. But that goes to show you that if there's Tyreek Hill, that's a score, right? That's not, hey, he's running to get out of bounds. He's running and hitting the goalpost. You got to have somebody over the top. I'm telling you, if Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was a Cowboys player, was a Kansas City Chiefs player, it'll be him. He's a Ninja Turtle out there. He's a ninja. I'm telling you, Tyreek Hill he's born in a lab. He was created by another. He wasn't born in this particular planet. He's either an alien or he was born in a lab. He wasn't created on this plane, right? So you got to contain him. And the difficult part about it is that they got this guy named Travis Kelce that you have to figure that out too. Now, their record does not reflect the skill or style of play they play, but you got to do that. And I believe the blueprint would be if you could just go look up the Bills on how they played them, right? But you got to match their intensity. But that's not something that you can say, okay, the offensive coordinator should get all of those credit, right?
Brian Broaddus talking about shifts, fans.
Eric Bieniemy.
No.
Save a guy that you could replace because you can replace it. The Chiefs are not worried about losing Eric Bieniemy.
No.
Because they know that they've got whatever the hell number.
And they have Andy Reid.
15.
And they have Andy Reid, who's really, sorry, Bieniemy fans, the offensive mind there.
Right. And the Cowboys have Mike McCarthy, who is an offensive guy.
Yes.
So do you really want to go down that road and do that? Like what do we really – how much of this offense do we really credit with Kellen?
Well, here's what I give – look, we don't sit on here and pretend to be Brian Broaddus talking about shifts and motions and what it's doing and dictating, and showing me whether you're going to blitz or not or man and zone and all that stuff, right? We'll leave that to more the X's and O's guy. But Ray Charles – is it Ray the one alive or Stevie?
Stevie is alive.
Stevie Wonder.
Stevie Wonder.
Ray's been gone for a while now.
Stevie can see that the offense has these little not
Appreciate
tricks,
you, Mark.
but it's more unpredictable than years past. There's cool, different elements that Kellen Moore has unleashed this year, and we're getting it every single week. That's indisputable. Indisputable. I don't know if the run schemes and the zone blocking and all these other things. By the way, we need to give Joe Philman some credit that we haven't given in talking about the O-line coach.
All right, so I got to stop this one. This is a good conversation. Mark asks, who was faster, Hill, Dion, warp speed? It's Dion is faster, right? Let's just put that out there. Dion is flat out fast. He ran a 4.21. Yeah. He's fast, right? Tyreek Hill is quicker. He got twitches that he can just get up and go, right? It's difference between fast and quick, right? Was it Darrell Green? He was fast, right? Dion was faster than him, but Darrell Green was quicker, if I can use that as an analogy. Now, none of these guys, none of them, believe it or not, I just wish, we had like evidence like with Gale Sayers of the world, of like full-on evidence of like how that guy used to run back in the days. But none of these guys hold a candle to Bullet Bob. Y'all Google him right quick and y'all put him down some of his stuff. But he's the reason why teams play way up north. Let's play zone because Bullet Bob, y'all pull that up. Nobody, can equate to what he was able to exhibit and exude, right? I digress. That is what Tyreek Hill is doing in certain situations, whereas you got to put somebody as the deepest of the deepest on the offensive side. Because if not, just like that, they can get life right back into the situation. I've literally seen tape of Mahomes dropping back and saying, for the love of Allah, he just throws it, eyes closed and everything. And Tyreek Hill is still able to get up underneath that ball, and catch that.
I don't know schematically everything Kellen is doing. All I can tell you is the little trickery plays and the game clinching, Zeke Pollard pitches and these other things that he's doing we have not seen here in the past. I'm not going to have that make me say he needs to be the head coach because of it. I think I keep McCarthy. I let Kellen go become a head coach somewhere else. I cannot undermine and undercut Mike McCarthy unless I know that Kellen Moore will be a damn good head coach and he can do it in a year or two. You may as well make Kellen the head coach next year and eat the rest of the McCarthy money, which they probably won't do.
If you're gonna go down the Kellen road like you did with Jason, you've just got to go do it.
Do you think that they would admit that was a mistake?
Appreciate you, Mark.
Did that sabotage, did that undermine, did that mess up Wade Phillips and those teams? What would Jerry and Steven say?
When we go back to that era, to 2007, 2006 basically, what messed up everything was when we went and got, and it worked for us though, It worked. When we went and got Terrell Owens, and I get it, that was the last straw that Parcells like, I'm out of here, dog. I did what I could do, but I'm out, And of course that fumble snap on the kick, he was like, man, what is going on? But I do believe in the hearts of hearts, the coach that got away from Jerry Wayne had to be Sean Payton. Not Wade Phillips and not Jason Garrett. If we would have made that transition, just think about it. Just hear me out. If we keep Sean Payton, if you make the move and say, okay, hey, we're going to make Payton. If Bill Parcells knew, they're like, hey, I'm finna leave after this year, but I got Sean right here for you. And they worked this thing out with either Todd Bowles being the defensive coordinator or was it Todd Bowles? Elevate him because he was the defensive back coach. Y'all help me out. Dang, my mind is gone. Or you elevate Coach Zim as the defensive coordinator. Either one of those two, under Sean Payton, as him being the quote unquote coach to coach Tony Romo instead of him coaching Drew Brees. I think that would have worked. And I think that within the course of the last 5 to 6 years from that point, we would have been lifting up a Lombardi trophy. Or if I can do the flash point, like the flash where he run back into the past, and if you work something out with Parcells and keep him for an additional 4 to 5 years, we would have at least lifted a Lombardi trophy. Sean and Drew Brees would have been special at Dallas. No, Joey Horn. It would have been Sean and Tony Romo. Yeah. That is the reason why Tony Romo is on his team, because of Sean Payton and Bill Parcells, right? You keep what built that. Mark hit the nail on the head with the appreciate you, Mark. It was Sean Payton. Yeah. That would have been the best outcome, and that's putting the toothpaste back in the tube, by the way. That would have been putting the toothpaste back in the tube. Let me rewind a little bit.
On the Kellen road, like you did with Jason, you've just got to go do it.
Do you think that they would admit that was a mistake? Did that sabotage, did that undermine, did that mess up Wade Phillips and those teams? What would Jerry and Steven say?
No. At the time, Jason was the next big thing.
Yeah, it was the chosen one.
He was the chosen one. I don't think so. I don't think they would have gone
Okay,
back.
but so what would be the difference now? Kellen Moore's becoming the chosen one.
Well, McCarthy's got a lot more
all right, let me ask you this.
credibility as a proven winner.
What do you think's the most likely thing to happen?
They try.
They what?
The most likely thing to happen is they try to keep him.
Okay.
but he's gonna take the job.
So you think they'd be willing to do a Garrett Wade 2.0?
No. I do think so. Now,
and you agree that would be wrong?
Yes, I do. I have a fundamental issue with now. I guess it would be his choice. It would be Kellen's choice to stay.
Right.
Like if they were trying to keep him down and not let him go to coach, but they can't do that. So it would be Kellen's choice to stay. If I were the Cowboys, I would try to do that. I guess I'm saying that's what they're going to. I think they're going to try to do. I would not do that.
Yeah, I mean, I disagree with you, Sean, when you say they wouldn't money whip him, and I'm really trying hard, RJ, to make a Ronnie Millsap joke since we're on blind entertainers right now, but I can't think of one. However, I think the Cowboys will money whip him. I think they'll make him Josh McDaniels.
Yeah. Money whoop time.
That was easy.
That's what you got to do. Case in point, this is a good prime example of what they're talking about, Josh McDaniels. Show of hands of people remembering Josh McDaniels getting head coaching opportunities, having the ability to go to coach the Broncos. Excuse me, didn't he get a playoff win with Tim Tebow versus the Steelers? Y'all let me know if I'm wrong. Love Parcells, but his D and scheme were adequate. But his D and scheme was adequate. Seattle stated this in the playoffs. Who says Kellen is going to want to be a head coach with the question mark? Yeah, I agree, Mark. Right. Yeah. So he want now that could be, the ultimate hand wave right there. Like, he won a playoff game with Tim Tebow. Yeah. So that is a real situation. And then they did the money pool, and I guarantee you they promised him a head coaching job when he had the offer with the Colts, right? Somebody recall my mind on that one. Yeah. And, it was John Fox? Bolden? Oh, so it wasn't. So Josh McDaniel never got a playoff win. It was John Fox who got that playoff win. Huh. Let's see, because I like to measure twice. Josh McDaniels. That's him. Wikipedia. Jerry Wayne. You move out the way for a quick second. All right, let's see. Denver, 2009 to 2008. Do they have it down here? All right, let's go. Straight wins, including da-da-da. You're right. He didn't get that playoff win, didn't he? Did he get it? I know they got his stats somewhere right here. Here we go. Let's go right here. Y'all bear with me while I'm trying to get this right. Yeah. Fire. Finished 8-8 in 2009. Yeah, he didn't get that playoff win. You're right. It was John Fox. Appreciate you, man. So we do here, baby. We trust, but we verify. So he went 8-8. And then in 2010, he went 3-9, and you're fired. That dude didn't get enough chances and opportunity to run his to run his program, right? Yep, and then he got no postseason win. So okay, so that goes back to the other point here. You guys are right. I trust you guys, but yeah. So you stand correct. So hey. It is what it is at this point. So that could be the situation. Even with, because I don't think who was hotter than Josh McDaniels at the time, right? And for him, his first year, he went 8-8, and then he went, 3-9? That is something that I will present to Kellen Moore and say, hey, stay here, man. They don't have the love and adulations like we have over here in Cowboys land. The money bag is good, right? Let me play the money bag thing again. You know, that's good. But you can be knocking right back at the door. Saying, can I come play? Can I come back to coach over here at Cowboys land? All money ain't good money, as we said, Domino. Sometimes you just got to take the 10. But I want the 15. I know I can get you with the 20 right here. I'm just going to take the 10, dog. Who play bones like that, you right? Right? Who play bones like that? You're like, man. Some people play bones. Look, I'm just going to keep Domino. Dorian says it's hard to go from an OC or DC to a head coach. You're handing your masterpiece to someone else. Many have tried and many have failed. You're right. Dan Quinn. I think he loved what he's doing now. Let's pull up. Now, I'm going to go back to this one, though. But, yeah, that's nice right there. Let me just pull this up so that everybody can see that part right there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right there. Y'all see that? Yeah. Highest graded offensive line. But this is what I really want to pull up. You know, DeMonte KZ, he said that he will be willing to play this weekend, by the way. So everything is okay with him. He's eligible to play this weekend. Shout out to DeMonte KZ. This is Dan Quinn, not Dan Quinn, but this is Mike McCarthy. But I want to show you guys this right here. Mike McCarthy, the day he put on the helmet and everything, he was talking about this is what the New England Patriots love to do. You know, you got to counter this, and you got to keep your legs moving because that's how they block. When they get low, so you got to get around that. And that is the reason why not Mike McCarthy, but Dan Quinn wore the helmet, because he had to literally show them, okay, this is what the Patriots tend to do. And you got to be ready for it. You got to counteract that because they go low when they block. Remember, we was talking about preparation and planning. We was talking about the ideology that this team is ready for it. They don't play around with their food. And I believe Gelkin, he brought up that point right here. He says on Wednesday, Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn wore a helmet at practice when teaching how to countercut blocks. You know what I'm saying? Here are 10 film examples from the Patriots' past 2 games as the reason why. And let me blow it up again. Man, y'all getting some good stuff for today, boy. Y'all getting some good stuff today. Yeah. See if I can blow that up. Oh, I can't do it that way. Here we go. Here we go. Get out of there. Get out of there. Here we go. All right. Let me see how did I get there. I got there by... You bear with me. Bear with me. Here we go. I got there like that. Bam. And we just go do it like this. We're going to do it like that. How about that? Let's fly back around. Why DeMonte KZ look like he's somebody great-granddaddy or somebody granddaddy without the gray hair? Yeah. DeMonte KZ. All right, that's him right there. Let me save him right quick. Here we go. But, yeah, here we go right here. Counter moves. Doing your necessary adjustments. Buying the umbrella now opposed to waiting for game day and saying, oh, it's raining. Do you have your umbrellas? No, we can go get them now. No. This coaching staff already got them ready for you. Got the rain coat, the rain boots, the rain jacket. You know, y'all see that, don't you? what's up with y'all, man? Appreciate everybody. Uncle Jasper, appreciate KZ. Looks like me when someone say the Cowboys ain't good. Yeah, below the heavens, appreciate you. All right, so y'all ready to slap somebody? I know I'm ready to slap somebody. All right, let's listen to these fools, man. We do this all the time, right? We listen to these fools, corrections. That's one fact that they did put out there. And for anybody that speak glowingly of Anthony Brown, it's good to speak glowingly of him. Confidence is everything. He is literally Larry Brown right now. Anthony Brown is Larry Brown. Can we just give him 24, And y'all can save some jerseys, man. And for those who bought the Larry Brown jerseys back in the mid-'90s or what have you. But I'm just going to tell you guys that let me do this right quick. Let me see. Pro. Because his numbers are not that bad when you look at it. It's just that he is going to get a lot of looks, man. Anthony Brown. I think that's how you spell it right here. They got to be him, right? There we go. If you look at it, man, run defense, 66.7, coverage 78.0, overall 77.8. That's passing grades by the metric points of the NFL. He got 2 interceptions that put him in tied for third in the NFL. Tackles 26, tied for second in the NFL. 44 targets, number 1. Who are you looking for? I'm looking for number 30. That's where I'm passing the ball to. He's number 1 targeted. Receptions allowed, number 1. These two right here. I mean, we wish Diggs can get that type of target. And I believe his run defense is better than Diggs if you want to really break down all of this stuff. And passer rating when allowed 84.3, and he allows 14.9. That's like 15 yards. And whenever I get 15 yards off of Brown. And my thing is with Brown, and I'm not selling or denigrating Brown, but my thing is with him is he's not all the way confident in his abilities. And he don't all the way trust the safety over the top at times. I mean, he plays off so much that he trusts his speed. But when you look at it, Cowboy Nation, he trusts his speed. So that's why he plays off, so he can see the field a little bit better. And he's never been a man-to-man corner. I know there's some people that's watching right now can probably get him on a few, as relates to man-to-man coverage. He's better than a zone cover corner. He plays boundary pretty well. But that's why his overall is 77. His coverage is 78. Let's pull up Diggs, man. Let's do this while we here. I think that Ezekiel just keep popping up. That's good. Yeah, that's good. All right. Look at that. Overall, 66.9. So just by metrics, if you just remove the quote-unquote interceptions, somebody blindly would be like, oh, give me Brown. Give me Brown, Because his overall, his run defense is not up to snuff. That's what last time I checked. And then you look at film or what have you. But the willingness to come down and field is everything. So let's look at it side by side, bam. Let's go back up here. That's Matt Judon. Let's go right here. Yeah. Just off of these metrics alone, right? Somebody would say, hey, give me Brown. Look, he's good on run. He come down and hit. He don't miss tackles and what have you. He got 6 mixed tackles. Look at this right here. Passer rating when allowed. 38. Quarterback don't throw your way. I'm just trying to check out something on Diggs. Nope. But passer rating when allowed. Keep on pulling up Matt Judon, but let me go down. This is Anthony. 84. Major difference. I got an 80 on my test, y'all. That's good. 83, 84, that's good. I got 39 on my test. They be like, man, you horrible. You don't throw that way. Appreciate you, Cam. Oh, Cam. All right, so I think I pulled up Judon for these purposes right here. Matthew Judon. 12 hurries. He requires a lot of pressure. Some people fall in love with the sacks. Of course, he got 7 sacks already this season. Let me go down. He's 3rd in the NFL. This is the guy. When you watch any level of a Patriots film, this is the guy, spotlighted guy, that he almost pretty much that Buccaneers game, kind of close against the Buccaneers to put Tom Brady to have that L against the Patriots. He will be a guy that Terrence Steele is going to have to make sure that he can. This is his final job right now because, when the break is over with Minnesota land, they're going to be looking for that matchup. The 7 sacks, the 12 stops, the 12 hurries, the 3 quarterback hits, and the total pressures of 22, those will be this particular reasons why if Dak Prescott will be running for his life, will be because of this guy. If he breaks free. So Schultz, be sure on the front part of the game, stay back and block this number 9. Do anybody have any rebuttals? Will anybody be sleeping on Matthew Judon? Let me read some of your comments because I know some people going to be like, he suck, y'all, Judon getting coverage sacks. Law Judon is overrated. I get what you're saying. I'm not looking just at the stats on Judon. But go back and watch the last 2 games. Just the last 2. Against the Texans, and of course that's the Texans, that's Davis Mills, of course, And go back and watch what he did against the Patriots. And let me know if Judon is overrated. Let me know if Judon is somebody that you can just say, okay, we don't have to plan for him. Let me know. And I'm not saying that he's going to come and attack Dak Prescott. I'm not using just stats. I'm using the hurries and the pressure. Those are things. Look, the 7 sacks, I get it. But the 22 pressures, I recall, that's last year what some of our players ended the season with. Off the edge. That's a remarkable number. And we are only, 5 games in so far, right? I'm just saying, I'm not saying that Judon, he still got to go up against these boys, right? You still got Martin that can kick slide over to the side to help Terrence Steele. And then on the other side, we got Tyron Smith. We got our reinforcement, but I'm just calling out something that you guys got to be mindful of. So when the game kick off, when we doing the play-by-play, y'all won't be saying, hey, man, hey, dog, hey, why you didn't talk about number 9, dog? Why you didn't let us know who this dude is, Judon, When did the Patriots get him, That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, Chuck Thomas. You're my dog. That's all I'm saying. I know you know what I'm talking about, right? I just don't want us to catch us with our pants down, Yeah, no slants. Jabbar says, hey, Brady, but yeah. Yeah. Secondary. I'm reading your comments. All right, so let's go over another spotlighted player. is Jacoby Myers. Never scored a receiving touchdown, I believe, in his career. He's a guy, he rounds his routes. He's not like a nuanced route runner. He's long or what have you. But let me see if he got this bio right here. Yeah, he's 6'2". Yeah, he's 6'2", 203 pounds or what have you. So he's not that guy that you have to worry about in that fashion. I believe, if I can go where he was at, I don't have his stat right here. But if you go back and you watch the game tape of him, they do this trick plays with him. They like to do options of him getting the ball back. Kind of like the best example would be kind of like how we use Cedric Wilson in that trick play to throw the ball down the field. That is what they tend to do with Jacoby Myers. They like to use him in it. I caught you in a moment where you thought that he was going to run a route, but nah, we doing flea flickers. We throwing the ball with him. We trying to make sure that we catch the Dallas Cowboys with their pants down and blown coverages and these sorts of things. So be mindful of that. That's all I'm saying. You know, I'm not sitting here saying that he's going to have a lights-out game against our guy Trayvon Diggs, but there is a situation, a scenario that they get crafty, and they love to do that with him. All right, so this guy right here, Damon Harris, shout out to the Harris. He's a guy shifty in a sense when he runs, but he don't go down just without a fight, right? The main thing with him, they screen you to death. Disciplined football is the name of the game with Harris. I believe 42 can pop him good. Number 11 can maybe pop him really good. 37 can pop. Number 11 to 37 is going to blow him up. But you got to understand, Bill Belichick game plan with Mac Jones is to get him comfortable. So screen passes underneath, direct snaps, all of those things you got to pay attention. And Bolden, I didn't pull up his information, but that's their thunder, and he is the lightning right here. He's the guy that you got to worry about catching the ball out of the backfield and running. Yeah. Damon Harris. Okay, and the other spotlight guy is Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry. Safety valve for the quarterback. Let's look at it. He's 6'5" and tall target for Mac Jones. And they used the 2 tight end set, but this is the guy, the catalyst for their particular team, who they feeds off of Damien. Like, the offense is just simple. It's nothing like our offense. It's simple but yet complex, but their offense is simple. The oldest of the older school football, minus the flea flickers and the quarterback with the ball, getting the ball or what have you, is what their offense is, basically. If some wildcat principles, they do that too. But Hunter, they will be utilized in the middle of the field. And I believe that Mac Jones will give you one. He would give you one by trying to go to this Hunter Henry. Ball bounces off of the hands, and you got to take advantages of it. Buccaneers got an interception. Lonnie Johnson, when they played, Buccaneers got an interception from their safety. And then Lonnie Johnson got him an interception. Had really 3 of them. He dropped 2 and he caught 1. Careless balls in the middle of the field. So those are the 3 spotlight players that we have to pay attention to. Hunter Henry is a bust. This is from Choctaw. Yeah. he's a major bust in my opinion. But he is one of the guys when they do get into the red zone that they looking for him. They're looking for the tight end. So just be looking for him. The wide receivers, that's why they don't catch touchdowns, because Mac Jones, he don't really throw that ball like you wanted to. Kind of low. It's not up. It's not like a good out and up. Kind of low and straight line. That's why that ball is tipped up or what have you. So Cowboy Nation, I really appreciate each and every last one of you all for tuning in for this episode, Midday Sports Report. I know that there are situations and chances that we may look back at this situation and say, all right, cool. Cowboys versus the Patriots. We haven't won in many of years against the Patriots, right? It's a new flavor, new season, and a new situation. Stay tuned for maybe a late night stream or a late night post, and we'll be out here with some more Cowboy information. I hope you guys have a great day and a beautiful time. But yeah, Alex say he sees 5-1, right? I come in to tell you guys, I see that too. I had us peg winning this game, and we should. Dominance starts right here. You see, people think that the Cowboys are the old Cowboys. No. The Cowboys are something new. Dak Prescott, he still got this on his mind to say, hey, I want to showcase to the world that I'm great. And every moment and every chance, I'm going to bring that to the table. I tell people all the time, if you want a thing bad enough to go out there and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time and your peace and your sleep for it. If all of your desires of it makes you quite mad enough that you don't get tired of it, and it makes you hold all other things tawdry and cheap for it, if life itself seems empty and useless without it, and all that you scheme and dream is about it, if you'll gladly go out there and sweat for it, and fret for it, and plan for it and lose all terror of God or man for it. If you'll simply, just simply go after the thing you want with all of your capacity, strength, and scarcity, with faith, hope, and confidence, and stern pertinacity. If neither cold poverty or famish or fame or sickness or body or brain can turn you away from the thing you want, if dogged and grim and besieged and beset it, with the help of Almighty Cowboy Nation, guess what? You will get it. Regardless of what the naysayers are saying, regardless of what they try to peg you in and paint labels on you or put you in a box. No, you peel those things off. You let them know that this day, the Dallas Cowboys, we are rude awakening. Let them do their talking, we're going to do the playing. Let us get out there and make something happen. Look to your left and look to your right and tell your friends and your neighbors. Let them know that the Cowboys are coming, baby. And we ain't folding up, baby, like a lawn chair. That's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. That's been my time. We out. It's time to roll credits, baby. Let's go. Yeah. Hey.
Nowadays, nothing really excites me. Only one of me and nobody's phone ringing and I tell him it's ice. I got wifey on blinging, she freeze. Photo, please. No photos.
Come on, baby.
No,
let me tell them.
Please, no photos. Hit the door and
y'all stay tuned. Shout out time. Shout out to everybody that's watching this channel. One love. Put down where you from. Come on.
different colors in my baggy light. Chalk it up. Talk of the town where you're talking up. Wanna get you a ring and you tough enough. Wanna get you new things with your pockets dull.
Shout out to you, Katie.
I used to be quiet and add a love.
Shout out to you, TC on the drums.
The hate and the jealousy. My mama telling me count up your blessings and run it up. Nowadays nothing really precise. Only one of me and nobody.
Lombardi.
Photo, please, no photos.
Come on, where my credits at, man?
No photos.
You must be broke today, but that's okay.
I put game on layaway. I got paid to play today.
Hey.
I get paid to stay away. I get paid on rainy days.
We'll check back with that one. Let's go.
I got paid on
Can't stop attack with no K.
Take the pain away. In my own lane, finger roll.
Come on.
I would never sell my only soul.
Yeah.
Heard your whole team was for sale. Heard it's on the market for the low. Who the realest, we might never know.
Long, come on, y'all. Y'all know that.
Give you the world when they sign you up. Try you out and then they line you up. Ooh. Now you're looking hungry, ribs are touching, need some food.
Come on.
Now you're all on live.
We need some milk.
Come on. Memphis in the house, baby. Let's try it again. Come on.
You're trying to take my moves. Nowadays, nothing really excites me. Only one of me and nobody's like me. Phone ringing and I tell him it's I got wifey on bling and she
Come on.
freeze. Photo, please, no photos.
There we go.
Jeez. No,
Yeah.
please, no photos.
Yeah.
Nowadays,
Come on.
nothing really excites me. Only one of me and nobody's like me. Phone ringing and I tell him it's I got wifey on bling and she.
That's the testament right there. That's a real testament of everything. You continue to strive, you continue to go, and the computer algorithm finally put that back up there. But these are all of the people that helped support the channel today on this day stream. I really appreciate all of you guys. Thank you for your love and adulations. Let's go, Cowboy Nation. Turn me up.
Might do it again.
Might do it again.
Enemies close, have me thinking they're friends.
Enemies close. Ain't that right, Philadelphia? I see you in here. Yeah.
Took so many years, I'm just waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no one but the one who took my sins.
Katie, I see you.
If I do it once, I do it again.
Let's go.
Bankroll.
Choctaw, my dog, Montana 808.
I'm just doing me.
Yeah.
Everything is on me.
Kevin Myers. Appreciate you. Brooklyn Joe in the house, baby.
I'm just doing me. Everything is on me.
CTC on the snares. Stay at home, ladies, and ride a cowboy. That's what I'm talking about. Jade Lombardi. If you all the way at this point and you watching this channel and you have not hit that like button,
I do this once a month. I don't rap much. I just take the money and go stack up. Only buying car to get tatted up. All that other bull, it don't matter much.
if you don't think the Cowboys winning this weekend,
no fault. I done doubled up on the workload. I think I fell in love with the bankroll. Pray up, get money, then we lay low.
hey, come on.
Bankroll, euro.
He needs some milk.
That was easy.
Yeah, come on.
Everything is on me.
If you don't like Law Nation and you don't like the Cowboys, come on now.
I'm just doing me. Everything is on me. Oh, you matter what?
Hey,
It's on me. Everything is on me. Gon' back it up.
yo,
Told you
Matter
I'ma
what,
do
baby.
me. Why you hating on me?
I'm just doing me. I'm just doing me.
Told her if it's all me, everything is on me.
Huh?
Gon' back it up.
Hey,
Matter what? Told you I'ma do me. Why you hating on me? It's not adding up.
hey, where my dogs at? Come on, dogs. Here we go. Let's slow it down for everybody. I really appreciate you. I would say grab you a glass of wine, but it's too early at this time. Yeah. So we just chilling. I hope you guys had a productive day at work today, right? Show this good, you gotta take off, huh? Nothing but facts to help your beard grow, make your teeth white. Let's go. Yeah.
Take a drag of my cigarette. Breathe me out, breathe you in.
Hey, come on. Hit him with this move.
Take a bite of my burger, babe.
Just your shoulder.
Save the last bite for you. For you.
What we tell them?
Don't let the street lights hit you all alone.
Don't let them hit you, baby. It hurt.
You know it's dangerous to go alone.
I can't wait to put that victory jacket on, huh? Play the tune, baby. All the haters, Do me a favor, lean forward. Come on, get another one. Yeah. Hey.
7 more and another one.
And another one.
And another one.
Hey. Come on.
7 wonders all
And we tell them,
don't let the street lights hit you all alone.
come on. Danger, baby.
It's dangerous to look
Come on, Mac Jones. Pass it all way. Let's see that turnover train, Jumper. Yeah. I see your pain. Davis. Roll Tide. Hey. I follow. Come on. Y'all having fun? Come on. Hey. Oh. For the credits again, let's roll them one more time for your mind.
If a paper crane can fly, then forever doesn't feel that far. So far, so far. If a paper crane can fly, then forever
Watch this
doesn't
note
feel
at the end.
that far.
I want me some
So
glory hole.
far, so far. If a paper crane
Shout out to you,
can
man.
fly on, fly on, fly on, fly on, fly on.
And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Woo! That feel good right there. Let's go.
You have to be your biggest fan.
The longest outro in life, baby! I got all of the records.
But there's something in
Yeah!
that says I just have to
Pick your
follow that.
poison. Yes,
You
Quest.
don't know who
Elohim.
you gonna be, who you gonna be.
Hey. Come on. I really use these songs to slow myself down, right? For all the haters. Come on. Hey, shout out to you, Nick. Sadiqua, appreciate you. One love. Until next time, let me see those turnover trains. Choo, choo.
Because you don't know who you're gonna meet.
Roll Tide.